Hello, wonderful to be back with you. My name is petaQ. This is an obscure game that was not released outside of Japan, made by NCS, who you may also know made Trampoline Terror. This is Mamono hunter Yōko, and this is the story of Yōko, who is a 16-year-old high school girl who goes around defeating demons in her spare time. Let's get straight into the action in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So Yōko has got a big old sword, and we've got a hitbox at the end of that sword, and we've also got a shield that we can hold the sword button down to obtain. That is going to protect me from all the bullets that come my way and all the projectiles, and believe me, there are many of them. There are enemies all over the shop in this game, so there's going to be particular premium on destroying as many of them as you can, both to avoid taking hits and to reduce lag. And obviously this is an earlier Genesis game, but we've got great graphics and sound here. And we've only got 6 runners at the moment, so I would love for more people to join this game. We'd be happy to teach it to you. But everyone on the board has held world record at some point, which is really cool. We've all added to the tech of the game. He said, taking an early death. This is a very interesting game with swingy RNG. Sometimes the game is just out for you and it takes lumps. You start with 35 lives and you just say, thank you, can I have another go please? Which I'm getting here. We've got slope physics on all of these vines, so I'm going to be trying to jump to maximal effect there. We have, however, got plenty of health pickups like that one there, and plenty of checkpoints, so we shouldn't have a problem getting through the stages. And there will be a couple of little tricks that we can do through the run, which I'll explain as we go. So we can fire the shield in any one of 7 directions, and that will be quite useful for getting rid of things that are coming on the way. And it's typical of a Genesis game. It's got procedural RNG, so the way you're playing directly influences the action on the screen, which is good because you can really get a feel when you play the game for what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Speaking of which, I am on the first boss, and the first boss is a giant moth that can control the wind. I've got to walk over certain leaf points, such as that, to trigger him to go to the opposite side and change the wind for me. Thank you, Mr. Moth. And there is a slight manipulation I can do to attempt a quick kill on this one. You can see there's wind physics as well, which is quite fun. Didn't get that manipulation, so I'm just going to come up here, try and mash him away. Lots of mashing on the bosses in this game. He is dead. I'm going to jump off and die as well, because it saves the game counting down the time for the end of the stage. And the 108th Devil Hunter Yōko gets onto stage 2 in the heart of a beating volcano. There is going to be an attempted skip in this part which saves 18 to 20 seconds, and if you would like to play a game in the chat, you can guess how many times that's going to take me to get that skip. And if you think you'll be able to guess it, think again. Sometimes it will come first time, other times it will take 20 attempts. That saves about 18 to 20 seconds. It's based on about a 1/4 pixel margin, and it can be quite finicky, but we shall try it anyways. It's common in this game to end up needing an extra few minutes just from the way things work. Either it all goes your way or it doesn't. And at this point I'm going to shout out JK Loser and the Motherbrain86 and B-Trim, who were 3 of the people who really pushed the time down for this game once it had been rooted. Got it into ASA a few years ago. And without them in the summer I wouldn't have been able to get into the game and learn it. Here comes the volcano skip yump. Can I get it first try? Nope. If you get it first try, you buy yourself a soda. That is the rule. No soda for petaQ today, just the green tea of humility. So we've got some eyeballs chasing us here. And one word about the health. If you take a hit, you will lose a bunch of health, but it will regenerate. But if you take a couple of hits in quick succession, you won't be able to get as much health back. So it really pays you to get rid of everything on the screen as much as you can, as we get the jump about 8th try there, which isn't bad. And that's one of the reasons that the health pickups are interesting, because there are times you will have 1 hit's worth of health left, you'll take the pickup, but you'll die before it can refill your health enough. So very much a game where you just have to play aggressively. And although there are many checkpoints, I've found that almost all of the time it is better to just play aggressively. So a lot of people here would die at this flame and try and restart. Gonna have to take a death there. But often when you get restarted, the RNG is not necessarily any better for you. I will say I don't envy Yōko jumping up the side of a volcano in heels. More power to her that she can do that. Do a precise little jump there. Didn't quite get down first time, so we're going to wait this flame out. Chill and do a bit of dancing. And I found the movement in this game to be particularly interesting to learn, because if you do much speedrunning at all, you're probably used to having some sense of synchronicity with your D-pad and with your button movements. But you find that with the slope physics and the precision in this game, you have to almost be slightly extra precise with your D-pad movement. You're moving a beat later or a beat earlier with that, and there are times you'll just go careening into a hole because of that, and you have to really understand that there's not too much you can do. There are some safeties you can make, but it's generally just one of those games where you take what it gives you, do enough runs and you'll get to the bosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and turn. I'm going to try a quick kill on this boss with a bit of mashed potatoes. You can also, if you are very lucky or very good, simultaneously die while you kill the boss, and that saves even a few seconds over dying afterwards, which I didn't get there. And currently, we are onto the third stage. This is where it gets really hard. There are going to be all manner of fish coming at me. And again, the RNG can change for those on a dime. The big fish have got massive hitboxes, you have to stab down at them. And it definitely can take a while to get used to getting past them, particularly on upward slopes. It's common to take a death or two in stage 3. It took me, when I first learned the game in summer, about 3 weeks just to get past this stage once, because everything is flying at you. And once you're decent at the game, it is particularly easy to start fancy playing. And if anybody out there has played poker before, you'll know exactly what I mean. You overthink, you try and do something you don't need to do, you end up messing up. So I'll take a moment there, take a death. That one's not my fault. And a deathless run in this game is pretty rare, so if you do that, you're doing well. And a good target for today would be 16x maybe. World record is currently down in the 14 range, down at 14.15. In theory, a sub 14 is possible, but it would require first try jump and all sorts of other good luck as well. And I'm going to shout out MSM, who did the bulk of optimising the game in terms of getting a really good time. So before JKL found the cycle skip at the end of the game, MSM got a 15.15, which is exceptionally good, because that skip saves about 15 seconds. So MSM's runs were very much far ahead of anything that else had been done at the time. Take a couple of hits because the shield will degenerate after a one hit there, so I'm looking a little bit low on health, see if I can get through. And we've got another boss coming up where not only have I got to mash with the mashing of the sword, but I've got to jump in the right way as well to avoid taking hits. Fancy play here is very common as well, just try and do it basically. Jump down here, and you see there the large fish despawned. That can be to our advantage sometimes. These platforms will just drop every second, but sometimes they will disappear before you are ready to come off them. No such problem there, thankfully, this time. On to the lobster. What have you got for me today, Mr. Lobster? A good kill, that's fine. And Yōko can have a bit of a swim. There is also an anime that this game was based off, Mamono and Yōko. I can definitely recommend that. It's a fun thing to watch. And it details the story of Madoka, who was the 107th Devil Hunter, who is Yoko's grandmother, who teaches her all sorts of cool tricks. There's not too much lore in the game. Into scene 4, into the Cave of Doom. We've got plenty of lag here because there are going to be all sorts of bats and snakes, spiders from the ceiling, and movement really is more precise here. So on this ledge, I'm going to sword down and kill the snakes. Jump and add a little bit of left in there just to be precise. I'm strange, I tend to jump early for things like that, so I have to be extra careful. And this game definitely can make you feel stupid. When I first started, my first run was like 30 minutes, because there's a lot of ice physics and repetition in 5 that got me. But it's definitely satisfying to complete, and once you get the hang of 3, you really can get to grips with this game and enjoy it. Obviously very cool music as well. And we had Ratfunk, who got the first sub 20 minute time. He was really the pioneer of setting this game up on the leaderboard. I feel like sub 20 is a decent goal for a beginner. We would definitely be glad to teach you this game. JKL and I are thinking of holding regular Mamono Monday race events. These trees are definitely a difficult area because you have to remember which branches are contactable and which aren't. We've also got woodlice coming out of everywhere, so they need to get the infest control in here. There's a health pickup over here, I'm going to be marathon safe. I'm going to pick that up. And you'll see my health regenerating very slowly. A couple of air jumps here. Try and get these precisely. And it's very easy with the checkpoints around to second guess yourself. This here is one of the checkpoints you can generally take without any problem. But again, the more aggressive you are, the more the game will reward you. And it's really about knowing when and how to tackle it. So here I'm not going to pause at all, I'm just going to jump and jump straight through, and I should be okay. And remember, there's a hitbox in the tip of the sword, so not only am I firing the shield out to kill enemies, but I can get the snakes by firing the sword as well. Took a hit there, took a death, that's a bit unfortunate, but that's generally quite good. And as I say, in stage 5 there will be a manipulation where we can skip a checkpoint for the demon carousel. JKL found that a few years ago, and I was able to add a little bit of spice to it by making it a bit safer, as we get a taunting little extra life there, as if 35 wasn't enough to start with. That will save 50 seconds. And then we'll have the final boss is a series of clones, and that can generally do what it wants, as I get a nice little precise jump there and jump straight off again. That's this game to a T. You think you've got it mastered? No, you haven't. Take your lumps, learn, carry on. That boss on the final stage can do exactly what it wants. Sometimes it will take a couple of extra minutes. This is going decently so far though. So we have some falling stalactites or stalagmites, whatever they are. The next boss is a demon composed entirely of snakeheads. It is very much a mashing challenger level above the previous one. I'm going to concentrate here because I've got it at 40 hits in quick order. That's pretty good. If you fall far too behind there, you will end up just getting killed very quickly. These heads can also do a lot of damage. This seems to be going fine though. He said, dying. Again, nothing much we can do about that. We're going to be well underestimate those, so that's not a problem. This game definitely can inspire frustration because it pushes you to your limits in terms of coordination, in terms of challenging you to do something that you would think is impossible at first shout. Back to the snack. So there's a little line up here where if I stand with my foot just in front of this little notch on the ground, I should be able to do a little bit of jump hitting and then run behind him, kill him no problem at all. That's good. Looks like we'll be on for a 16-17, which is pretty good for a marathon. And the next stage we are also going to have ice physics to deal with. There are definitely some comedy timing jumps where you can fail there. I have most certainly failed those on a number of occasions, and partway through this stage I will start doing some cycle counting, because I am going to be jumping from one moving platform to another. We've got some slime enemies that can follow you here. He's come in the right position, that's good. Take a hit from a fish. Always with the fish in this game. And Yōko, of course, has to be careful because not only is she a high schooler, she's going to be late for class if she doesn't finish quickly. So let's try and help her out with that. Do a bit of dancing on the platforms. We have also got some dragon snacks coming up. You can throw your shield to manipulate where they go. This one seems to be misbehaving a little bit. Thankfully, I've got a health pickup coming up, so we should be okay. Yep, that's good. One hit there is not really a problem. This is definitely a game where you'll have save states that have a lot of set piece practice. So the trees in 4, the climb here in 5. Getting up to the demon carousel where the gems of the first 3 bosses are located along with the 4th. And we will do some counting now to try and manipulate cycles. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So an 8 means that I have landed here on the optimal positioning so that I can walk from this platform to the next. I've got margin to be both early and late. And if I do it right, I'll have 3 shots at the bottom gem before I have to change platform instead of 2. So that's pretty nice. There is going to be a little bit of lag with that, but I know the lag cycles, I should be okay. Here we go. Good, that's perfect. Very happy to see that. that is definitely the sort of thing that can get messed up in a marathon. I'm not the most spatially aware of people at the best of times. So we're going to get these gems off. And typically what you would want to do with the game, there's a little platform up there you're meant to go on, and that's going to take you all the way back to the area we just at, which cost 50 seconds. We've skipped that completely. That's nice. I'm also going to do another moving platform strat here with a bit of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not 13, that's fine. I'm going to jump from one platform to another, and then I've got a bit of margin for error. Like this. You see there that I managed to get from one platform to the other, avoiding any sort of damage. That's quite fortunate. Climb up the hill here. Start to do a little bit of manipulation. And I will be concentrating on the final boss. Hopefully I'll get it first time, but do not be surprised if it takes a couple of attempts, because this boss will easily eat a minute of your time in both casual and speedrunning mode. And hopefully you've enjoyed this game and want to pick it up. Do contact us if that is the case. We don't have a Discord for it, but we would absolutely love to hear from you. Get a health pickup. Here's the final boss. Clonorama. Decent start. One more to go, then the final boss, the real villain of the game. Almost full health, this is good. Mashing time. Ooh. There we go. Mamono Hunter Yōko is going to jump off into the void. Time. 16:26, that's pretty good for a marathon. So Yōko is very happy, she can go back off to class. That is Mamono Hunter Yōko. Hope you've enjoyed the game. I'm going to get set up for the next game, which is also a Japanese platformer that wasn't released in the USA. I will see you again in a moment.